When Angel Reese first burst onto the basketball scene, she did so with a fierce determination and undeniable talent.
This comment said, homegirl is visibly uncomfortable, bruh. Let's go down and look see what other people had to say.
As a standout player in high school, she was hailed as one of the future stars of the game. Her combination of physical prowess, agility, and mental toughness set her apart from her peers.
This comment stated, homegirl is visibly uncomfortable, but she was comfortable enough to dress like that in public.
Fans, especially young girls aspiring to be like her, saw in Angel a beacon of hope, a symbol of what could be achieved through hard work and perseverance. Her rise to fame was swift, and with it came the promise of a new era in women's sports. Reese was poised to redefine the game and to elevate women's basketball to new heights.
You don't want to be sexualized. Angel Reese has said time and time again, she never wanted to be sexualized. But
as is often the case with rising stars, there was more to Angel Reese than met the eye. As much as sports fans and critics alike admire the on-court talent of athletes, it's impossible to ignore the impact that personal choices, particularly those related to image and branding, can have on an athlete's career. Angel Reese's choice to wear a controversial outfit on a popular show was the spark that ignited a wildfire of criticism. What was supposed to be a fun appearance turned into a moment of intense scrutiny. Angel wore a pair of shorts and a crop top, seemingly harmless choices.
Stuff you wear, bruh. Assuming that wasn't the topic, she just seemed to be uncomfortable with him, because he's telling the truth.
But to many, they represented something much deeper, the start of a shift in her image. To her supporters, it seemed like a betrayal of the strong, determined athlete they had admired. To others, it felt like a sign that Reese was prioritizing attention and image over her basketball career. The comments flooded in, accusing her of dressing inappropriately and disrespecting the sport. Critics claimed that such a bold choice was inconsistent with her role as a role model to young athletes.
I never could have imagined last bucket of my rookie season would be a 3. But maybe God's saying give them a taste of what they'll be seeing more of in year 2.
Particularly given the high profile she had achieved in women's sports. Angel's passion, once celebrated, was now overshadowed by the public's focus on her wardrobe. The question arose, was this the Angel Reese we had all admired, or had the spotlight begun to affect her judgment? Unfortunately, the controversy didn't end with her outfit. As Angel's star continued to rise, so did the noise around her. What had once been a path to greatness now appeared riddled with potholes. As her performance on the court continued to dominate.
New weekly podcast called Unapologetically Angel. Because I would have been like, how naive can you be?
But so too did rumors and accusations that tainted her achievements. The whispers began. She must be on something. Some critics, threatened by her dominance, speculated that her physique and stamina could not be the result of hard work alone. The accusations were based on nothing but speculation, yet they spread like wildfire, casting a shadow over her accomplishments. To many, it was heartbreaking to see Angel, who had once been seen as the future of women's basketball, now reduced to the subject of such baseless and cruel rumors.
She is young. She's only 22. And the reality is the scrutiny that she's been subjected to is inexcusable, it's egregious, it's disgusting.
It wasn't just about her skills anymore. The narrative had shifted from praising her talent to questioning her integrity. The questions didn't stop with her physical attributes. Some went so far as to accuse her of using performance-enhancing substances, an accusation that, if true, would undermine everything she had worked for. This, of course, was never proven, but the damage had already been done. The joy of watching her play was replaced by doubt, and what should have been a celebration of her incredible talent became a cloud of suspicion. As if the personal controversies weren't enough, Angel found herself caught in a rivalry that seemed to intensify the public scrutiny surrounding her. Caitlyn Clark, another star in the world of women's basketball, became the center of attention as her rivalry with Reese gained national attention.
The addiction to attention is...
While Clark was seen as composed and hardworking, Reese's brash personality often made her the subject of ridicule. The media pitted the two against each other, fueling an already fiery debate about who was the better player and who had the more respectable image.
Can't be the big bad wolf, but then kind of cry like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Nobody mourns when the villain catches an L. And Angel Reese, you have self-proclaimed...
Angel Reese, a rising star in women's basketball, quickly found herself in the middle of an intense rivalry with Caitlyn Clark. What started as a fierce competition on the court soon grew into something far bigger. This rivalry transcended the game, reaching into the realm of public perception and media scrutiny.
To Warner after he made some strong comments about Angel Reese. Guys, this story is...
Fans of Clark seized on the controversies surrounding Reese to elevate their own idol, Caitlyn, contrasting Reese's public battles with Clark's more measured demeanor. The narrative was clear. Clark never seemed to make headlines for anything negative, whereas Reese's name became synonymous with drama and controversy. The comparisons between the two were relentless. Clark was depicted as the hard-working, composed athlete, while Reese was seen as brash and attention-seeking.
He's told her lonely male followers, hating pays too. Translation, I need attention. Translation,
This was no longer just about basketball. It was about a clash of values, and the media ate it up. Instead of focusing on Reese's undeniable skills on the court, the spotlight shifted to her image. And with that, her reputation began to crumble. As her career progressed, Reese's priorities seemed to shift. No longer was basketball her singular focus. Staying relevant in the public eye became just as important, if not more so. Reese's new podcast, Unapologetically Angel, was an embodiment of this shift. Rather than using the platform to discuss her game or her journey as an athlete, Reese became more focused on stirring up controversy. Her podcast episodes often centered around her rivals and her personal drama, including frequent references to Caitlyn Clark. The focus moved away from basketball and onto Reese's desire to remain in the limelight. This change in direction was disheartening for many who had once believed in Reese as the future of women's basketball. She had been celebrated for her raw talent, work ethic, and determination, qualities that had made her a role model for aspiring athletes everywhere.
money. Translation, nothing about me is authentic. Translation, I cannot be a star on...
But as the controversy grew, it felt like she was trading her respect for notoriety. Instead of continuing to prove herself on the court, she seemed more concerned with creating drama and ensuring she remained the subject of conversation. Angel Reese's greatest tragedy was that she didn't need to rely on controversy to stay relevant. Her talent alone was more than enough to keep her at the top of the basketball world. She had the skill, the charisma, and the drive to become one of the greatest to ever play the game. But instead of allowing her game to speak for itself, Reese chose to embrace the drama, and in doing so, she risked tarnishing her legacy. Her decision to prioritize attention over authenticity was a blow to many who had seen her as a beacon of hope in women's sports. She had once symbolized strength, perseverance, and the breaking down of barriers for young athletes, particularly young women.
Dropping new episodes to her podcast, Unapologetically Angel, and yet again, she's using Caitlyn Clark's name for clicks.
But as the controversy surrounding her continued to grow, it became clear that Reese was no longer the role model she once was. She was no longer inspiring others to push the limits of what was possible on the basketball court. Instead, she was setting a troubling example of how to sacrifice personal integrity for fleeting fame. Reese's fall from grace didn't just affect her career. It had who had once pointed to Reese as an example of what hard work and dedication could achieve, were now left scrambling for explanations. Young girls who had admired her for her strength, tenacity, and commitment to the game now saw someone who seemed more concerned with her image than with making an impact on the court. The disappointment was palpable. Instead of being a source of inspiration for the next generation of athletes, Reese's choices suggested that fame, controversy, and personal branding were more important than talent, work ethic, or dedication. It wasn't just a personal loss for Reese, it was a loss for women's basketball as a whole. Her decisions were sending a message that being talked about, no matter the reason, was enough. But the young athletes who looked up to her deserved more than that. They deserved a role model who would lead by example, someone who would teach them the value of hard work and perseverance, both on and off the court. Angel Reese's story is far from over, but the direction she takes from here will determine her legacy. She was once poised to become one of the greatest players in the history of women's basketball. Her talent was undeniable, and her potential seemed limitless. But now, as she grapples with controversy and public backlash, the question remains: can she rediscover the focus and determination that once made her unstoppable? Or has she already decided that being in the headlines, no matter the reason, is enough? Reese stands at a crossroads, with the future of her career hanging in the balance. She can choose to return to the court, refocus on what made her great, and inspire the next generation of athletes. Or she can continue down the path of controversy, trading substance for spectacle and allowing her public image to define her. The choice is hers, but it won't be easy. The decisions she makes from this point forward will determine whether she's remembered as a game changer or as a cautionary tale. The fall of Angel Reese is a painful reminder of how quickly fame can slip away. Once celebrated as the future of women's basketball, Reese now finds herself mired in controversy and under constant scrutiny. The tragic irony is that she didn't need to create drama to stay relevant. Her talent was enough. But as she allowed her focus to shift from the game to her public persona, she put everything she had worked for at risk. Her story isn't over, and it's not too late for her to turn things around. But the question remains, will she? Can Angel Reese find her way back to the player she was meant to be? Or will she become just another example of a star who let the spotlight consume them? Only time will tell, but one thing is certain. Her legacy is still in the making.